Hey, y'all, I'm Shane Sams, the host of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. I'm excited to be here today to help you take your online business dream to the next level by helping a real member of the Flipped Lifestyle community. Got a couple great guests, some awesome people, an amazing family on the show today, David and Jill Chase. They're an awesome couple who's been in the Flipped Lifestyle community now for a few months, and they have been crushing it, working hard. They've got their business launched. They've got their website open, and now they're running some ads. They're writing some content, and they're trying to build an audience. On today's program, I'm going to help Jill and David do keyword research for SEO so that they can get in front of the right people. They can pan for gold, and they can find the perfect customers for their membership site. On today's show, I'm going to teach you how to use tools to do YouTube keyword research. I'm also going to show you how to use Google's keyword planner tool so that you can go out and find out what are your perfect customers searching for and how you can get in front of them on your blog, podcast, or YouTube channel. This is an awesome episode. We go deep. I fire up the Google keyword planner. I fire up vidiq.com, and I do live research on the air so that you can get a feel for how I find the words that we use for our business. If you're listening to this on the podcast, make sure you go over to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and hit Flipped Lifestyle. We're going to post a video of this so you can watch me do keyword research for SEO live on air. But I talk you through it. You're going to get a lot of value from my conversation with David and Jill. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. Super excited to have another member of the Flipped Lifestyle community on the program so that I can help them take their online business dream to the next level. And I'm pumped today because we've got two people. I love it when we get a couple on the show. We've got David and Jill Chase. Guys, what is going on? How you doing?
Doing well. How about you, Shane?
I am always fired up. I am about 3 coffees in this morning because I was ready to. We've already been talking on Facebook this morning. I'm coaching a little bit, so I am really ready for you guys to knock it out of the park and us figure out what you can do next to make this membership thing a reality. But before we do that, tell everybody. I know everything about you because we've been hanging out for weeks in a mastermind. But tell everybody about you, your background, and your online business.
Well, hey, Shane, thanks for having us. We decided we wanted to go for this online business thing. And so we thought about our backgrounds and our experience and what we had to share. David is an engineer with a ton of design experience, doing things that have never been done, figuring out how to make them possible. And I'm a teacher. I taught in public school, and now I homeschool our kids. So we decided to kind of combine our experiences and our expertise, and we went for a site with resources for homeschooling families to help them take what they're doing and make it amazing.
Homeschooling is very hard. We tried it, and we've all been virtual schooling now for a year thanks to the pandemic.
Right.
It's tough. It's really, it's a lot harder. I was a teacher for 10 years. Jocelyn was a teacher for 8 years or something like that, or maybe 6. She was a teacher's aide for a couple of those years. But man, we were school teachers and it was tough. So if you all got it figured out, and I'm a homeschool person, I'm like, help me figure this out. That's amazing.
Homeschooling, it's a lifestyle and it's kind of all consuming, but in a good way. So what we decided to focus on first actually is career exploration for teens. Career exploration and career planning, because we kept hearing our friends complain about their jobs and what they wish they had known before they picked them. And then we heard friends with teens saying how hard it was to guide them through that process and help them figure out their future. And so we started looking into it and realized that there's a lot involved in the process. And it takes a lot of time to guide them through. And so we decided to create some resources to help with that.
Really where it started out was we wanted to take all that experience. We've talked to all of our friends and professionals who have been in the businesses for a while. And we really want to kind of help teens hear that. You can watch stuff online, like YouTube or whatever, for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But it doesn't really get what it's really like to work that job. You get the surface type of stuff. Yeah. So we started interviewing a lot of our friends. We have a lot of contacts from all kinds of places we've been. And we started realizing, well, you know, it's great to get that information out there, but you need more. You need more. Okay. So you understand like, okay, I understand that that job isn't what I thought it was going to be, but how do I figure out what's good for me? So then that's where we started doing a lot of research to figure out, okay, what are all the steps in the career, you know, exploration and planning processes? We developed a bunch of online tools for them. We also developed a database that has over hundreds of actual careers in it with different types of videos and different types of stats and stuff that they actually can search based off of their online assessments. So it's a very comprehensive system. And then we actually tried it out with like a live class last year, and we got great reviews. I mean, the parents loved it. The homeschool kids absolutely thought it was amazing. Like there was nothing out there like it from what they told us. So we thought that's great.
They tried some other stuff and hadn't really gotten the results they hoped for.
Yeah.
And when they worked through it with us, they were able to figure out a direction for their future. So they were
I've never,
excited.
I've heard you guys explain this to me, but something just clicked to me. Like, so homeschool parents are choosing the curriculum, picking everything out. They're doing everything. Like they take on every role in the school, basically, right? Like
they're the guidance counselor.
Right. But this kind of makes you guys the guidance counselor. Like that's what parents won't have as a homeschool student. Like, you know, I remember when I was in high school, I would go to the guidance counselor and they would tell me about jobs and they would look at my test scores and they would say, hey, this might be something you could be interested in, you know, and things like that. And you had that resource. Like, I didn't talk to my parents about it. My parents were like, go to college, figure it out, you know, and they had some ideas, but it wasn't like going down a rabbit hole. But this kind of gives homeschool parents their own personal guidance counselor that they can take their kids through, and they can walk through the process of helping their kid identify a career, which could shape their curriculum choices for their kid throughout the high school years, right?
Yeah.
Right.
When you think about it, what's the point of doing all that schoolwork? It's really eventually just to help you find a career that's a good fit that you're going to enjoy for the rest of your life. I mean, really, that's the point of why you're doing all the schoolwork now, was just so you can have a career that you like later on, right? So
being able to identify a goal they're working toward also helps motivate teens in their studies. Because I hear homeschool parents all the time, like, oh,
why am I doing this?
With my kid. They're like, why do I have to study this? Well, because they don't have a goal in mind, right?
And plus, on top of that, like when I was in high school, I was all over the place. I had like 10 different majors I was considering, and none of them were engineering, which is what I ended up as. But back then it was okay because college wasn't that expensive. So I actually wasted some time in college trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Eventually then engineering. I like engineering. I'm good at it. But now it's too expensive to do that. I mean, college is way more expensive than it was when I was going to school. So that's why people rack up so much debt. It's because the kids go to school and they waste so much time trying to figure out what they want to do.
Man, I've really had an epiphany here. Like if you could position this as it is about the career for the teen. That's the problem the parent wants to solve, right? But I think the pain point is actually, I don't have a guidance counselor for my kid because I have chosen homeschool, right? And that's a pretty powerful thing. And the targeting is pretty simple on that because you can pick age groups of kids to do those things, right? Like it really is. And how many, you said, what's the domain name again? Say the domain name for everybody.
We have it h4rl.com. So it's homeschooling for real life.
Gotcha. Because that's perfect, because we're not just schooling for giggles here, people. We're trying to get you out of the house and into a job so that you can go live on your own.
Exactly. Right.
Right. I don't want to be homeschooling you till you're 29. That would be terrible. Let's not do that. We need to get you out of here. Right. This is a great idea. I mean, this is a cool idea. The homeschool market is absolutely huge. It's just a matter of getting it in front of the right people and making sure that they know how to use it, what to do, and that it's hand holding enough where it does feel like we have a lot of members. We've got someone who does a virtual CFO. They're your company's virtual chief financial officer, right? This is virtual guidance counselor. Like this is virtual. You don't have to figure this out. I'll walk your kids through the process. It's almost like a curriculum play, right? Like this is like you're selling a curriculum, like I sell a homeschool curriculum for history. Other people sell for math or algebra. You're selling the homeschool curriculum for, guidance counseling. Basically, we're going to guide you to a career.
It is very thorough.
Yeah, you all put a lot of work into it. Trust me, I know. I've watched you do it. All right. So where are we at right now? Where are you stuck? You guys have done a lot of work. You've got the funnel out there. I know you're running some ads. You've just kind of rolled this thing out there. You've just got the site where you want it to where you can bring it to the public. So where are you stuck right now? What's holding you back? And how can I help you today?
So really where we're stuck as, like you said, we're running the ads. So we're paying for anybody that comes to our site. We are writing blogs right now. One thing we were really kind of confused on, like, how do we get more organic growth? Like, I'm not so sure blogs or even podcasts is really what will reach our audience. We thought about maybe going to YouTube, but the thing we're confused about is our avatar is really the homeschooling parent, but it's really YouTube. We could possibly target more of the kids and get them more interested and know who we are. We tried doing some STEM classes, which we haven't got great results as far as the number of people coming. But anybody that comes to it loves it. Like, I go and talk real in depth about different types of engineering stuff, and they can ask all kinds of questions like that. We thought about doing something more like that on YouTube to try to get more of an audience. But really just trying to grow that audience and getting people, to basically, our audience really is what we're trying to work on here.
Gotcha. Let me log in. I'm going to log into a couple things here real quick. The answer is always SEO when you talk about organically getting found, but there's different kinds of SEO. Like, we can use tools. Like, I'm pulling up right now a tool called vidiq.com, which is a search engine for YouTube only. And I'm going to pull up one for AdWords. And I think that what we need to do is figure out what people are actually searching for. And this is a weird one. These not SchoolNet, that's not the right word for it. I've got other people that do this in like the ACT and the SAT space. And there's this weird overlap in some spaces between the kid and the parent. The problem is the kid doesn't have a wallet.
Right.
The kid has no money. So like, we can get attention from the kid, but the chances of filtering through to the parent are almost very slim because, my kid watches YouTube a lot. Isaac loves YouTube. I know about 1% of what he's actually paying attention. I should probably pay more attention to that. We've got stuff set up like filters and things like that. So I get alerts when something's kind of sketchy and I'm like, what'd you watch today? What are you doing? Right. But like, I probably should pay more attention to it. You know what I'm saying? But we do our best because it's the tech world and everybody's on the internet. We're going to always cyborgs in the next 10 years anyway. So it doesn't matter. But what we do need to do is look at the parent first. We've got to talk to the parent because they have the money. They just do. Now, does that mean YouTube is not the right place? I don't know. We can check that with the keyword planner. So I'm going to go in Google and I'm going to pull up some stuff. We're just going to do a little live search here. I should probably maybe do this. I'm going to screen share. If you're watching this I'm going to talk everybody through it, but we're also going to screen share here just to let people see what we're doing. Hold on. Let me close all my windows and make sure that my email's not open and all that good stuff. All right. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Do you see start with keywords?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what we're looking at here is the Google AdWords keyword planner. So what are some things do you think parents would look for? I think parents would look for like college, maybe college for my kids or something. College for my children. I don't know. Let's see what we get. I usually start with just one random thing that comes off the top of my head and see what comes up to give me more ideas. All right. So what I'm seeing some question like, what is the best way to save for college? Okay. So that's a question that parents are looking for. And they're thinking about college for their kids. So it's not how to find the career, but this is definitely a parent who is thinking about this. So maybe you write a blog post called what is the best way to save for college for my child, right? And yeah, that's only going to get 100 or 200 searches a month, okay? But over time, if you write, 50 to 100 articles that are getting 100 to 200 searches a month, all of a sudden you're getting 10,000 searches a month, right? So this stacks. Okay, these are called long tail keywords. And sometimes it is good to think adjacent to what your product teaches. Like, for example, the Flipped Lifestyle the Flipped Lifestyle Blueprint teaches explicitly, specifically how to start membership websites, right? That's how we monetize. That's not what we talk about in our content a lot. We talk about online business. We talk about email marketing. We talk about sales funnels. That's our public content because I need you to know you want to make money online. And then I will teach you how I make money online, right? You're the same thing. They want to figure out how to get their kid to college, but you're going to teach them how to make sure when they do that the kid picks the career that's on right for them. All right, so let's look at a few other results that we came up here, and then we'll search over on YouTube. How can I save for child's college education? Now, one thing I see here is this word child. So I'm going to put child and college, and I'm going to search that. And let's go deeper. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to hit get results. All right. child college gets 100 searches a month. College fund for kids. College fund for baby, 10,000 searches a month. Same. So what I'm seeing is a trend here. The number one thing that people are worried about is how they're going to pay for college. They don't care at first what the kid's going to do, right? They're going to worry about if they're wasting their money later. But right now, the first question that people are asking for is funding college. So I think that could become a major part of your free strategy now. You know that people are looking for this. Like you need an article about 529s, which is the federal savings account for college. You need like these. You can write different blog posts about the same thing. You could write a blog post called "Saving for a Child's College Fund" and "Best College Fund for Kids." Right? You could grab these people early. You know. Mm-hmm. Get them on your list. Saving for a child's college fund, saving for baby's college. The baby ones you might want to avoid because that's a little far away. You don't want to get their email when they're 0 and then they turn 18 years later and you're like, we finally got you in the membership, the long-term play. You know, right. But like I'm seeing a trend here, you know, and like let's look for one more thing.
We have a whole video module actually about paying for college.
100%. But you have two options, right? We can go wide. Right. And we can write 100 articles about the same thing, just with different nuances. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, you could talk to 100 different people about what they did to save for their kids' college. And every one of them is a different blog post. Mm-hmm. You're saying the same thing over and over and over in different ways so that people can get it. Or you can take one thing, go shallow, write one post, and you can drive traffic to that like crazy to build retargeting audiences for your opt-ins. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's how you actually use these strategies for SEO, for organic traffic, is you have to figure out how you're going to do this, right? You want to look for things that you can rank for, like some of these say competition low, right? I'm going to put choosing a college in the search bar. If you're watching this on YouTube, go check out our YouTube channel over at flippedlifestyle.com/YouTube. You can still see my screen, right, guys?
Now I have a question here, Shay. So this is obviously just general and broad, but you know, our main target is homeschooling. Although we did find out did you know that the average guidance counselor has 491 students. So
yes,
we actually had a lot of we have friends who are actually in public school and they saw our site and actually
you're definitely targeting homeschoolers,
right?
But we have to pan for gold. The river has a lot of water. Mm-hmm. Every person who wants their kid to go to college, some of them are in public school, some of them are in private. Mm-hmm. We've got to pan for gold. We got to put our pan in the river. The water runs through. And what are we looking for? The specific gold we're looking for is homeschoolers who want their kids to go to college. So that now becomes a messaging issue. Like if you say how homeschoolers can save for college, how homeschool parents can help their child choose a college, right? So we're going to flavor the pan so that we can get the gold that we want. But the river exists. We have this is, I think, a problem. This is a great question. Most people want to go out and hyper target, and I know my people, and I'm only talking to them. That is not how it works. That is not how it works. You are on a soapbox in a crowded parking lot, screaming as loud as you can, so that the 5 people in the cars will walk over to you. That's how online marketing works. It's called attention marketing or interruption marketing. You have all this attention, but you got to interrupt it and make sure they know that you have the thing that can solve their problem, right? But it's like when you go to the doctor, the patient doesn't know what's happening. They don't know what they even need. They just know what hurts. And what hurts the most might be my headache, right? But it might be a tooth problem causing that, and it's referred pain, right? So the pain that these people are feeling, clearly, because all these searches are funding college, that's your free content. You got to get them in through that. But once they figure out how they're going to do that, and maybe that becomes a part of the program later, like how do you fund college, you know? Right. But that leads to the second thing of how to now pick it. It's a process. You may have created a blueprint for picking the person's college career, but you may realize that your blueprint actually needs to start with, if they don't know how to fund the college, why would they even think about what they're going to actually pick? Because it doesn't matter at that point. You know what I'm saying? So it could evolve your brand.
Well, maybe we kind of actually focus on that. We kind of talk about like really the most important thing you can do to decrease the cost of college is actually have a
No. You're talking about savings later. Right. You're talking about spending less. They don't know how to, for example, if I have $0 and I want to buy a car, I can't buy a car. If I have $10,000 and I know that I've saved $10,000, I can now go choose the best value for the car. But you're one step ahead of me. I'm not even thinking about how to get a good value yet, right? I haven't even figured out how to do it, period, right? For example, we may save up to go to Disney World, okay? We want to go to Disney World. But I'm not even going to start shopping for hotels and resorts and tickets and days I'm going to go until I know my budget, until I know my vacation days. So sometimes we have to take your eyes off of your product. Your product is totally irrelevant in any of these decisions. What you already know what the product you've created is. You got to back up now to the needs of the customer, and you got to stop thinking about the result that you're trying to give. And you got to make sure we can align this thing with the result your people even want, or if they're even aware of the result they want yet. You know this is the best decision for them because you're 3 steps ahead. Just like I know the best decision for 90% of families starting an online business is memberships. I know that because I've seen it. But I have to convince you that it's possible to start your own business. I have to convince you it's possible that you can build a website. I have to convince you that it's possible to put your voice out there and that people will listen before you even monetize. That's why we don't teach you how to start a membership until phase 4 in the Flipped Lifestyle Blueprint, because you got to have your idea. You got to have your avatar. You got to build your courses. You got to figure out how you're going to serve. And then you turn that into a membership site. So that's where your evolution is going to have to come in here. You may be talking about the wrong things publicly to sell the right thing privately to your people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That might be it's obviously where we're missing, because
the disconnect.
People, right?
Yeah. All right, so check this out. Let's go to Vid Iq now, and I'm going to search for. Let's see here. I'm going to search for Vid Iq. I'm going to search for the same thing. What did I search for a minute ago? It was like, let's look up funding college, since we've already got some clues. So I'm typing in funding college to vidiq.com. You have to pay for this too as well, guys. It is a paid service. So we look here. Okay. All right. So we can see massive amounts of searches, right? Like here's one where people type in financial aid. 3,000 searches on YouTube a month, very low competition. I usually look for things, there's a rating on here that says 54 out of 100. I look for things in the 50s or below, right? If I'm going to go for a keyword. But you can see that there's a lot of things that you could college funding, just a YouTube video called college funding. Sometimes the data is not accurate here, but it's very low competition. How to pay for college, 39 out of 100. Sometimes this doesn't come through, but there is search. It would not appear here if there wasn't search. Okay. Scholarships right now, like choosing a career. Let's see what comes up around that. Adjacent keywords for choosing a career. Definitely getting searched for. Competition's decent. You could do a video called choosing a career path, how to choose a career 33,591 times a month. How to choose a career. That'd be a great video. But again, probably 10% of those people are homeschool people looking for a career for their kid. We're painting for gold. We're putting mud on the wall. We're seeing what sticks. It takes prolific creation. And then what you'll see happen, like let's say you did a YouTube video a week, a blog a week, and a podcast a week. You just went crazy. What happens after 6 months is you'll start looking, as you're doing this research, you'll realize that something gets traction, right? You'll start getting people on the email list who eventually say, oh, I talked to that person. That's the person I want to talk to, right? Like look, Gary Vaynerchuk comes up in choosing a career. So this is clearly adults looking for themselves, because you're not a parent listening to Gary Vaynerchuk for your kids. At least don't play it around your kids, right? Because Gary V is going to drop some F-bombs, so we can throw that one out. We don't have to talk about Gary V, right? Career opportunities. I think that's probably an adult searching for that. So we can kind of throw that one out, but choose college major. 3,732 times. How to choose a college major. That's the language your avatar is speaking to describe the pain. Sometimes we, as online business owners, we speak in the doctor language because we know the cure. Oh, you need to take 44 cc's of this stat, whatever. That's the language that we fall into, and it's a curse of knowledge, and we have to back out of that and say, my knee hurts. That's what your patient is saying, and that can be found here. And then you just write it in that language, right? Like, does your knee hurt? Take this and it'll fix it.
Well, that goes right along with what we've seen, because our one ad that's doing really well is about picking a major.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Because you have found the symptom. And that we were talking this morning for everybody that wasn't listening. We were going back and forth about they had an opt-in page that wasn't converting, but the ad was clicking through. All right. So we said, okay, let's back up. Let's figure out why the opt-in page wasn't converting. When I went to the opt-in page, I immediately saw like 2 or 3 things that were wrong. Number one, the trust that you built in the video on the ad and your picture and your face and you visually there. When we went to the next page, you lost the trust because you didn't have that same imagery, right? So we worked so hard on the ad trust, we lost it when we went to the opt-in page. Is this even the right place? It'd be like if you're like going to the foot doctor and you went in and everybody was in a sling and their elbow was tied up. Like, is this the foot doctor? I don't know if this is the foot doctor. And you're out, you're leaving, and you're going to look at the sign and you're like, did I walk in? Did I go to the right address? Right? So that's one problem. You need to have the same visual imagery from ad to ad. The next thing is that same language that resonated in the ad must be almost mimicked perfectly on the next page, right? Like if you say, does your foot hurt? And then on the next page, it needs to say, here's how to make your foot stop hurting. It doesn't need to go immediately into educating them on everything you have. You just got to say, hey, your foot hurts. That's what you told me. If your foot hurts, put your name and email in. And on the next page, I will show you how to make your foot stop hurting. And then we go on the next thing. Maybe we teach them how to never let their foot hurt again. Right. That's how ads should be chained together. Have you watched the training called the sales chain inside of the Flip Lifestyle Blueprint?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. That's the one that breaks down each link in the chain, and we have to stop when a link is broken and weld it back together. And they're all connected. If there is a disconnect, that's why I use the analogy of the chain. From one link to the other, your customer's out. Every link touches each other. Every link has to build on the link before it if the ad is actually going to convert at all.
So question, as we change ads, do we need to change the images on our opt-in pages to match that ad?
In theory, you would create a new funnel. Like funnels should be created and tested thoroughly, right? Or you can use the same kind of like for example, imagery is easy because if you do a different video for a different ad, just wear the same shirt, right? Like you can just make it look visually the same. So it's not like you have to do that. Now, if it's a very different topic and subject, you might have to create a new pipeline, new sales funnel. You know, okay. I prefer very clean sales funnels. When we start an ad, we usually, lately we've been testing them for about 2 weeks at a time. We'll start a funnel, we'll build the funnel, we'll start the funnel. We don't look at it again for 2 weeks. Money's going, I'm just whatever. I'll come back in 2 weeks and see what happened. Then we make changes to either the pipeline or we learn and we build a new pipeline so that everything's really clean in the data. And I'm always thinking about how to link those pages together. Like I draw it out on paper. This is the ad. This is the page they land on. What needs to carry forward? This is the opt-in. They're going to go to a thank you page. What needs to carry forward? What does the email need to say that's going to go back to them? Is everything still 100% you're in the right place at the right time to be in the right place at the right time? And I look at we look at the steps in the journey to make sure that it all converts. Sometimes when you're creating things, you have great ideas when you're making like a sales page. And it's like, then the sales page has nothing to do with the opt-in page. It's like totally out of whack, you know?
So
like
you have a separate chain for each of the ads you're running, essentially. You might
more than likely
change the language a little bit.
We try not to go too crazy. Like, for example, like I might go 6 straight weeks and like we make an ad and then maybe we change the pictures. So we just go through and we change all the pictures to try a different picture. We leave everything else the same. You don't ever want to change more than one variable. So like, then I'll go back and change another variable. And sooner or later, you're looking up and you're saying, this is not even the same sales funnel anymore. Let's just build this from scratch. That's an answer sometimes. And you're just constantly trying to figure out what will convert. Now, here's another thing that this hurts people's feelings. It hurts souls when I tell people this. Your ads, when you finally get one to work, has a shelf life of about a week or 2. And then you're right back into the mix. Like you don't do an ad, you do ads. So it's a process of, okay, maybe this month we hit one good week where the ad crushed it. Maybe it's 2 weeks. And maybe we don't have to change much in the ad to make it convert again. Maybe a picture change to mix it up. some text change, maybe we change a little bit, but it's an evolution, and you have to accept the journey of the ads, not the result of the ads, because it's going to take time to figure one out and time to get it going. Now, should you figure it out within a couple of weeks? Yeah, you should be doing something, or the ad's wrong, or the audience is wrong. Something's wrong. But you need to try something new at that point. So there's no magic ad. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody out there. I am in these tools that I just showed you on YouTube and talked you through on podcasting pretty much every day. And I'm just constantly thinking of new ideas. And then we meet every couple of weeks on our ads, right? Like 3 people on our team work on ads because they are very hard to get right. And not because Facebook's hard, not because Google's hard, not because YouTube's hard. It's because it's really hard to get and keep attention, And that's the part that once you figure it out, the other stuff's easy. You can build a website, you can create your membership. You're expert enough. You clearly know what you're talking about, but getting and keeping attention is the game in any business. Make sense? Yeah. Okay. So what follow-up questions come to mind now that we've talked through that a little bit?
You said you make an ad, you run it for about 2 weeks, right? And then you're checking it, and you're just
that's a ballpark, by the way.
Okay. What kind of conversion rate should we be looking at essentially?
You're probably looking for 5 to down, and 5's really good. You're probably going to be somewhere on one side or the other of 3, right? Okay. But that doesn't matter. And it doesn't even matter how much it costs you to get an email. Cost of acquisition is the only thing that matters. So what you should be looking at the end of the day is I spent, for example, let's say my membership is $100 a month. Okay. And let's say that I ran $1,000 in ads over a 2-week period. And let's say I got 10 members out of $1,000 of ads. I paid $100 for a customer, cost of acquisition, right? So as a membership owner, we can give up the first month and make our profit on the backside. We need to break even on our ad spend, or we at least need to know when we break even. Let's say that it cost me let's say I only got 5 customers. Through my whole funnel, it produced 5 customers. Then that would be $200 a customer. Well, I now know that I break even in the second month because my membership is $100 a month. Mm-hmm. If I know my average member stays 6 months, well, cool. I spent $200 to eventually make $600. And it works like a Model T factory line. You spend a lot of money and stuff, and you're making that first one, and it takes a week for it to come off the line. Right. So those first couple months of ads are really frustrating because you're like trying to get this Model T off the line. But once the first one goes off, the next month it keeps coming. You see what I'm saying? It's like, so that all kind of works out where when you reach LTV, you start making money on that. So it might take you a few months to get there. But cost of acquisition is what you should be looking at. Now, there are other metrics that matter. For example, cost per lead, right? How much, I spent $1,000, I got 100 emails. Therefore, I spent $10 per email, right? Those are cool numbers. Cost per click matters. Those are other things that can guide you. But at the end of the day, did I make more than I spent? Did my membership produce results? That's what you're really looking for, is how much does it take us to buy a customer. So when you say like 3%, is that a click through to get to your site, or is actually usually it can spiral, like it can go. And listen, this is totally different for everybody, right? Mine probably will convert way more than yours, and yours could convert way more than somebody else's, and it's all around. I'm just telling you, it's going to be less than more, and it's going to be in the if we do the 80-20 rule, it's going to be below 20, right? So you're talking, the whole funnel should, if you send 1,000 people in the top of it, hopefully coming out the end of it, we're talking like 3 to 5% of people. It's a numbers game. And that's why it's so important. It's less than more. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to give exact numbers because if somebody's going to write in and go, I got 8% conversion, Shane. I'm like, good for you, buddy. Tell me how so I can spread the word, right? But like, you've got to it is going to be less than more. And you've got to find the equilibrium. You've got to find the part where it's like, I'm now spending less than I'm making on these memberships. And for memberships, it's really easy because I've had experts tell me that Netflix and Disney Plus and places like that, they will spend up to 33% of lifetime value, right, on a customer. Now, when you're starting out, you don't know lifetime value. That's not a fair assessment, right? Nope. So the best metric that we have in the beginning is to assume that we can buy a customer for the first month's price. That's a goal in the beginning. So if your goal is $50 a month, then you need to be spending $50 a customer and then one of you needs to be working on retention to make sure they stay at least 2 months.
Right.
And then you can make that better, but you're going to make money off of that. Right.
Mhm.
And then that gets better over time. Yeah.
Okay.
It's intimidating. This is intimidating. I feel you like leaning back like, oh gosh, this is way more complicated than I thought. Mark Zuckerberg said hit boost and everything would be okay. But that's not true, right?
I like what we're talking about because we've gotten such great feedback from everybody who's seen our stuff, but we can't get anyone into it. So I like that we're talking about here how to meet them where they're at and bring them in. But I've gotten a little bit lost. For me, I need it really concrete of here's what I'm going to do in this order. So we looked up some ad things and we've seen that they're looking for how to pay for college. We know they want to know about picking a major. So we're going to be writing blog posts and making some videos about those things and running ads to those. But then at some point it has to switch to what they're actually coming in for, which is the career stuff, right?
Sure.
I mean, we've got the scholarships and paying for college. All of that is in there as well, but we need to let them know the big thing. So how do we make that whole chain connect?
Okay. So there's different kinds of ads, right? And you said something interesting there. We've gotten such great feedback from the people we put through this. Yeah, but earlier you guys told me we reached out to our friends on our personal network, aka people who already trust and love us to go through the product.
In the class. Those
Okay,
are the people we talked to about careers and stuff.
Was it totally cold? Were the people in the class the coldest of the cold, total strangers?
Some were.
Yeah, some were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some were friends, but most of them were, yeah.
Okay. How did you get them to join in real life? Did you talk to them? Did you reach out to them? How did you find those people? And what convinced them to join it?
People?
I think
we sent out a flyer.
I think we posted a couple things on the Facebook, like local Facebook things.
A local Facebook page.
Local Facebook homeschool group.
Okay. So that's a local group that knows you're local. And just like when you're walking through the airport, if you're from Tennessee and you see, if I'm from Kentucky and I see another guy wearing a Kentucky shirt, I look over and say, go Big Blue. I don't have to trust him. I know he's from Kentucky. Right. So that was a local group. So there was more trust than if you had ran that ad in Alaska. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So your goal is to build trust. And these people who are finding you online, you have to build trust. So there's two kinds of ads. There's traffic-based ads where you're just trying to get people into your brand, right? You want college funding. Here's the thing about college funding, totally free. This is going to help you do that. Trust me. When they get value from that, they opt in, right? But we have to then, once they land on our page, have retargeting ads that sell the thing. Right? Like we identify people who might want our stuff. We pay in for gold with traffic to blog posts. Mm-hmm. We build an audience of people who have landed on the page. Mm-hmm. Then we have a retargeting ad giving them the next step, which we know they need. Right?
Okay. So just because they came in through the funding and they saw the funding thing, we don't have to keep talking about funding to those people.
No, exactly. Right.
Okay.
But you might want to, right? That's a branding decision. For example, Pepsi is going to show you lots of Pepsi commercials to get you into the aisle. And when you get to the aisle, you may see a Mountain Dew case, right? There may be a Mountain Dew ad there. So same exact thing. They show you 100 Pepsi ads. I want a Pepsi. I'm going to go to the store. I go to the Pepsi aisle. I pick Pepsi over Coke, but then there's a Mountain Dew ad. So we can redirect you right at the sale, right? We can redirect you, but you may want to bring that cohort of people in through the courses that you have about funding college. And then you can tell them you have other stuff. So maybe that door in is what gets them, but retention comes from once you've helped them fund college, then they can choose the career. And that's where they stay in month after month through the curriculum and they adopt it and it becomes a part of their kids' experience. Right.
Okay.
It's like when I'll go on a podcast and I'm pretty good at this. I'll kind of try to guide the host to interview me in a certain way where I want to talk about a certain thing. Like I'll get a feel for the audience. I'll get a feel for their questions. Then I'm going to kind of like whatever they ask me, I'm going to answer it the way I want to. Right. Mm-hmm. And so let's say I go on to a podcast. I was on national radio last week. This is a great example of this. I was on national radio last week. It was like 600 radio stations, totally cold audience. 9 times out of 10, they don't even talk about business on this show. The producers just wanted to bring an expert on who could talk about alternatives during the COVID pandemic because so many people are suffering, right? Mm-hmm. So I got the gig, and I go on the show, and I'm hearing this, and I'm telling my stories, and I'm listening to the questions. I immediately just start talking about getting an idea for your idea. I'm like, this is a totally cold audience. I'm totally listening to these questions. I know they're cold. That none of these people even have an idea for an online business, and unless I get them to come up with an idea, if I could do that, then it doesn't matter what else I tell them, how expert I am at funnels and all this other stuff. That means nothing. So I immediately, when I pitched, said this. Hey, look, for everybody listening out there, this may be the first time you ever heard about making money online, right? But you do have God-given talents and experiences and wisdom that you've accumulated over the years that you could probably turn into an online business. And what I do in my community is I help people come up with ideas for online business. Now, what I really do is help people build membership websites and go get 100 people to pay them $50 a month to make $60,000, whatever, right? That kind. That's what I do. But until they do that, I can't do it. So then when I pitched, go to fliplifestyle.com/free, I will help you start your idea. So I pitched that part of their journey, right? Or I could do a free opt-in. I could we have another one called at fliplifestyle.com/idea. Sometimes I'll just pitch the freebie, right, to get them in there. But if it was a more advanced audience, if I went on Planet Money on NPR, and they were asking me, like, well, tell me about retention. We would talk about that. And then I would say, it doesn't matter how many members you get if you can't keep them. I just so happen to have a course inside the Flip Lifestyle Blueprint all about retention. Now, if you go to fliplifestyle.com/free, you can take that course for free for the next 30 days, and you'll know how to retain people. And even if you don't like it, we'll see you later. Bye. You can cancel anytime. So I can pitch points. I'm looking for doors. I got a big round room. I got 75 doors, however many courses I've got. And I'm just trying to figure out the audience, what door they want to come into. I don't care what door they come in as long as they're in, right? So don't get so married to the result, right? You need to look around what other things can you do to open doors into your community? And that's how the ads flow.
Right. So we could actually we thought about doing a webinar, basically how to help your kid do like career exploration, but maybe we should do it like how to help your kid pick a major, which is directly tied to career exploration.
That's good. That's better language. You could also do one on funding. Like that's a great pitch. Like you could get people there live, like come to this, how to fund your kid's college, give them 5 good tips, right? And then at the end say, now that you're going to be able to do this, because we just taught you how, you're going to be able to do this. But what you don't want to do is waste that money. So let us help your kid pick the career inside our membership. We can keep talking about funding. We can help you set this up. But you know what? We're going to make sure you don't waste that money too, right? So you just create another result. So you just speak their language, speak to symptoms, don't speak to cures, discuss results, but make sure it's the result that they need next. I can tell you to build $1 million membership and you can build the funnel. But if you don't even have an idea, the $1 million membership funnel means nothing to you. Now, if you have an idea and you've started building your website and you're ready to launch, of course, get your funnel right. But I got to figure out what you need next, not what you need most. And that's the biggest mistake that most people make when they're trying to market. Yep. Awesome. It's a process. Well, listen, guys, you guys are doing a great job. You're in this weird no man's land of I've got everything built. Where are all the people? Right. And it just takes constant, consistent, prolific, relentless iteration at this point until you find a nail. It's like you're rubbing across the wooden table and you're looking for the nail that's making it jiggle. And then your hand hits it and you stop and you just start hammering that nail right there. Like you're just feeling right now. And unfortunately, this is the place where many people get frustrated and give up because it's the hardest part. But once you get the audience, it's like momentum, It's a lot easier to stay on top of the mountain than it is to get to the top of the mountain. And you're almost there. You're almost there. All right. So with everything that
we can't quit.
No, man, no, you can't turn back. There's no water on the way back through the desert. You know what I'm saying? You got to go forward to find the oasis, guys.
Right.
But, all right. But with everything we've talked about today, we talked about a lot of stuff. What do you guys think your next step is in the next 24 hours, the next week to really start thinking about all this stuff? Besides, go back and listen to this again, because we just covered a lot of ground. That got way more technical than we usually get here on the podcast.
I actually think that we've been thinking about trying to do a workshop in January. I think we want to focus on possibly they're picking a major or how to pay for college and really maybe drive some ads directly to that workshop so that we get to know you like us and then we can try to pitch.
Yes. Yes.
I think
And
that's
I would,
what we'll focus
it's
on.
not an either or, it's a which one's first.
Okay.
So I would just pick like the college major might be better later because kids aren't graduating yet. You know, it's January when we're recording this. Maybe you talk about the funding thing because we know there's tons of search. It's on people's minds. And then February or March, maybe you do that one twice and get it good. Then maybe in March you just go ahead and start talking. Then you do that one a couple times. And then you look and you see what happened and you say, all right, which one's better? And also think about the calendar of your person. What is your person thinking about in January? Probably starting to think about the funding a little bit, right? Because they got to pay for, God, my kid's going to graduate. What is happening here? Right. Now, over the summer, that might be great career ones because you're getting ready to go. So you got a big cohort there of people getting ready to go. So like think of the calendar, figure out which ones you want to do first. You don't have to pick. You just pick which one's first and then do them a couple times and try them out and see which one converts the best. Sound good?
One quick thing. One problem is you really shouldn't be deciding when you're going into like your senior year or junior year what your major is going to be. You really should be thinking about this earlier on. So we want to make sure.
Even 8th grade. Yeah.
Honestly, you really should be thinking about early on.
I know you should do that, but I can tell you right now that 90% of parents don't.
Right.
You're the doctor and you're thinking, oh gosh, you should eat healthy. You should run. You should take your medicine on schedule. You should do all these. You should stop smoking. You really should. But that person is going outside after dinner and lighting up, right? They are not thinking about that. You have to think about when your customer is thinking about it. And then you educate them on when they do. So basically, if you could get a person in who had a senior and they figure this out, but they've still got another like sophomore behind them, that's where you're going to catch people. Like, I should have done this earlier with this kid. That's your job, right? Yeah. And so maybe you're targeting people with multiple kids. You want to fix the senior, tell them how awesome it is, and be like, we're getting this one right. Bob, you may be homeless in 2 years, but Cindy, your sister, is going to make it. She's going to be okay. All right, guys.
All
right, guys. That wraps up my awesome conversation with David and Jill Chase. Man, a couple action takers, couple go-getters who will not turn back. They refuse to turn back. They're too far in. They're ready to go, and they're ready to find their audience so they can build that membership site that changes their family's future. We would love to help you build a membership site that could change your family's future as well inside of the Flipped Lifestyle community. Inside of the Flipped Lifestyle community, you'll be able to find your idea. You'll be able to define your perfect customer. You'll be able to build a product, start a membership site, create content, and get all that out to the world so that you can go out and have an online business of your own. Our membership site is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can go into the Flipped Lifestyle community right now and start taking trainings, interacting with other customers, and hanging out with us live on coaching calls. And the best part, everybody gets to try Flipped Lifestyle for free. We don't have any giant $1,000 price tags on the front page that you have to pay before you even get to look inside the doors. If you go to flippedlifestyle.com/free right now, you can start a free trial into the community. You can go in, you can kick the tires, you can light the fires, and you can check everything out. If it's right for you, stick around. We'll show you the path to online business success. And if it's not, no risk. You can cancel anytime. To start your free trial today, go to flippedlifestyle.com/free. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com/free. We would love to help you and your family build a better future inside. All right, guys, that is all the time that we have for today's show. But before we close up, I want to leave you with a verse from the Bible. Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible, and there is a lot of great stuff in there that can be used by entrepreneurs to help them keep going and build successful businesses. The Bible talks a lot about money and business if you'll just open your ears and pay attention. And today's Bible verse comes from Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And that's my message for you out there. Listen, online business is simple, but it is not easy. And many people will try, and many of those will say goodbye, and they will not keep going. They will not push past the tipping point to make it to that promised land, to go get that harvest. I know that David and Jill are going to keep pushing forward. They're in this hard part right now, but they're almost through it, and they got to get to the other side so they can go get that good harvest. And I know you will not give up as well. Don't grow weary. Be consistent, be prolific, be relentless. Keep putting in the work so that you give yourself an opportunity for the harvest. That is all the time that we have for this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate every member of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast audience. Make sure you've subscribed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to shows. Make sure you download a few episodes onto your podcast player so you got them on the road. And if you've not done so yet, go leave us a 5-star review over in Apple Podcast if we provide value every single week. And until next time, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then. One more thing before we go. Thank you so much for listening to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. If you love the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, if we bring a little joy and a little happiness and we bring some knowledge into your life every single week, could you do us a favor? Go to Apple Podcast and hit subscribe. Download a few of the podcast episodes onto your phone. Apple's algorithm loves seeing downloads and it loves seeing those subscribes. And please leave us an honest review over on Apple Podcast. That'll help us grow the show, expand the mission, and reach more people so that we can help them change their family's future as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.